Batman Rise of the Dark Knight Part 3. Gotham City, New Jersey, May of 1999. At Wayne Manor, the door swings open. Bruce Wayne, Lucius Fox, Dr. Leslie Tompkins, Aunt Harriet, and Kathy Kane come in. They're all happy for Bruce Wayne, who was wearing his graduation robes and graduation cap. He had just graduated college at the age of 17. Now he has a business degree and he is ready. Lucius Fox says to Bruce Wayne, "Well, Mr. Wayne, I have a job offer for you. It's a special job. It's called Executive Assistant." Bruce says, "Really, Mr. Fox? Wait a minute, let me guess. Executive Assistant is like the internship program, but except I'm taking on some more responsibility and I'm getting paid for this one." Lucius says, "You're right, Mr. Wayne. You're definitely right." Bruce says, "Well, Lucius, in light of the fact that I have a college degree now and I'm not even legally an adult yet, it's amazing, but I know a place where I can get the experience needed to run a company, so when I take over Wayne Enterprises, I'll have the experience under my belt." And Harry says, "Where, Bruce?" "Well, it's called the Wayne Foundation." Lucius smiled. "Ah, yes, the Wayne Foundation. It does need a good head to run the company. I think you can do it. From what you showed me during the internship, you are more than capable of running anything." Leslie Tompkins said, "Oh, Bruce, I'm so proud of you. You're finally going to take on the responsibility at the Wayne Foundation." "Well," Bruce said, "yeah, that's the only thing I can do. I mean, I don't think the older people who work at Wayne Enterprises would be too thrilled that a 18-year-old would, well, I'm not 18 yet, but next year when I turn 18 would take over the company. I think I'll hold off on taking full control of the company, well, until I'm a suitable age, maybe 21 or so." Lucius Fox says, "That's a good idea. I don't think anybody will take you seriously until you turn 21. Then Bruce turns to Cassie and says to Kathy, "So, if you want a job now or next year when you graduate, just give me the word, Kathy, and I can at least get you a job there." Cassie said, "No, I'm good, Bruce. I mean, when I graduate from college next year, I'll be working at my dad's company. He's really going to groom me to take over for him. He wants to retire already." Bruce let out a smile. "Yes, that sounds like your dad. Anyways, Kathy, the proposal still stands." Kathy said, "Don't worry, I'll take in consideration in case things don't work out at my dad's company." Meanwhile, in the other end of Gotham City, it was a nice spring day for Captain Gordon, who was now a detective in his early 30s, going really nowhere in the police department due to the corruption of Commissioner Gilliam B. Loeb and all his cronies that work for him. And one of those cronies was his partner, Lieutenant Flass. Yeah, the two of them started the academy together, graduated the academy, and went up the ranks together, but since Flass was corrupt and did anything that Loeb or Loeb's friend who had him in his pocketbook, Carmine Falcone, says, he got to be lieutenant. And Gordon stayed at captain, even though he was a detective. Well, they were cruising along down the avenue, slowly. Flass was driving the car. He said, "You know what, Jimmy? Today is a beautiful day out here. I love spring in Gotham." Gordon was like, "Yeah, spring is a nice time of year here in Gotham." Gordon had reached in for his pocket, pulled out a cigarette, and lit up. And he says, "I don't know, Flass. I don't know. I have a bad feeling about something's going to happen. Call it intuition." Flass let out a loud laughter. "Yeah, Gordon, you always have these weird intuitions and they never come true. That's probably why you're still captain." Gordon's like, "You don't have to remind me, Flass," as he puffed on the cigarette. Suddenly, Flass sees a group of kids hanging out in the alley. Flass stops the car, puts it in reverse, and parallel parks. Flass gets out, and he walks over to the kids in the back alley. He recognizes one of the kids. It was a young black male with dreads, a black leather jacket, and blue jeans on. Flash says to him, "Hey, Mikey, does your mother know you're cutting school today?" Mikey says, "Oh shit, Flash. Hey, it's not what it seems, man. I'm not cutting school today, man. I just, I'm caught up with all my work." Flash comes up to the young kid. The other kids kind of run off in fear, and he's like, "Well, Mikey, I'm going to have to discipline you. Cutting school. Come on, Mikey. If you're caught up on your work, you still have to be in school." Mikey was like, "Come on, Detective Flash. Hey, Flash said. "I don't want to hear it. I'm going to have to search you." He grabs Mikey violently and throws him up against the wall, then pats him down and finds an object in his back pocket. He pulls it out. It was a switchblade, or the handle of a switchblade. He then grabs Mikey and is like, "Well, Mikey, look what I found here. I'm afraid you're going to have to be punished." Mikey says, "Oh, come on, Flash. Come on, no." Flash proceeds to hit Mikey in the stomach, and then violently punches Mikey in the face, and then he grabs Mikey and throws him into the dumpster. All Gordon could do was watch helplessly in his car. There was two things that Flash loved to do: take bribes and bully people. And no matter how many times he reported Flash in the past, with Loeb running the department, nothing was going to get done. Well, Flash opens the door, comes back in, and tosses Gordon the handle of the switchblade. It's like the kid was armed with that. Gordon goes to pull what he thought would be the knife out of the switchblade, but it wasn't. It was a comb. Gordon looks at Flash and is like, "Really? You beat up a 13-year-old for this crap?" Flash said, "Hey, he was skipping school. He needs to learn a lesson. He won't do that again." Well, the car drove off. Mikey opens the dumpster, badly hurt, his face bruised, looking at the car taken off, and he said, "We're going to get yours one day, Flash. You're going to get yours, you son of a bitch." Well, later on, the night fell. As darkness danced across Gotham City, the city was lit by its lights from its buildings, street lights, and the neon signs of the businesses. But above it all stood a figure in the darkness, wearing a bat-eared cowl, a long flowing cape, gray tights with black briefs, and a yellow utility belt, and a giant bat symbol emblazoned on his chest, and lenses over the cowl that gave his eyes a white appearance. It was Bruce Wayne and his new alter ego, the Batman. The Batsuit was complete. It was a high-tech piece of hardware ready to fight. Well, but the night started out slow. It was quiet. He could pick up the police band, and the police band was pretty quiet that night too. Until a little later, when he explored, he saw a brownstone apartment building. One apartment was being robbed. There were a bunch of young hoodlums on the fire escape. The window was open, and they were cleaning out, trying to take out all the expensive stuff from that apartment. It was Batman's chance to act. As the hoodlums were cleaning the apartment out, all of a sudden, Batman leaps down and lands hard on the fire escape, right in the center of those young thugs, scaring the crap out of them. "Oh God, what the hell?" Batman quickly proceeds to kick one right in the chest. The punk went flying right over the railings and into the alley below, crashing right into some garbage cans, hitting the ground hard. Then Batman proceeded to take on the other punks. And after he was done, all those punks went falling over the railing and into the back alley below, joining their unconscious friend on the ground. Well, the end of the first night was fruitful for Batman. Not only did he stop those young robbers, but by the end of the night, he stopped several more robberies, beat the bejesus out of a mugger, brutalized a pimp who was abusing his prostitute, and beat up a bunch of policemen who were beating up a homeless guy for the fun of it. The next morning in GCPD headquarters, Detective Gordon was coming in to work. He had a tiring night. He didn't sleep very much, and he really wanted an easy day. As he was walking through the police department, it was a typical busy morning as usual. As he was making his way to the desk, Flash comes up to him. "Hey, Jimmy, we have to go. The commissioner has an emergency meeting with all the detectives. He seems pretty PO'd." Well, they soon enter the briefing room. The door closes behind them. Loeb was there. Jimmy noticed something odd. He noticed what looked like giant sketches of a giant monstrous bat. He was like, "What the hell's going on?" There was another sketch, less monstrous, of more of a man in a costume. Well, Loeb says, "All right, gentlemen and ladies, the reason why I called you in here, because apparently we're starting to have a vigilante problem in the city." Everybody's like, "Oh, wow, what?" "Yes, you heard me, a vigilante problem. Well, we know this because some of our officers last night were assaulted by what they describe as a man in a bat costume. They were apprehending a homeless guy who was causing trouble, and they got beat up badly. Two of them are in a hospital. One has a broken rib, and the other one's arm is broken." Suddenly, Flash raised his hand. Commissioner Loeb says, "Yes, Flash, you have a question?" Flash asked, "Commissioner Loeb, who were the officers that were assaulted?" Loeb went on to say their names: Stolnaker, Manson, Farnsworth, Henson, and Gonzalez. Flash was surprised. So was Gordon. Gordon leans over to Flash and says, "Flash, aren't those all your poker buddies?" Flash says, "You're right. Those are all my poker buddies. I wonder what happened." Gordon knew in his mind what happened. His poker buddies were some of the most corrupt cops on the force, and looks like they got beat up for doing something illegal. But of course, since they said the homeless guy was causing trouble, they're going to be let off the hook. But somebody knows they were doing something illegal. Beating up an unarmed homeless man was probably doing nothing but trying to look for food. Commissioner Loeb kept on saying, "I don't care if it's Salvation Army or whoever. No one takes the law into their hands in my city. So I want this character found, apprehended, and arrested, and made an example out of in this city. Got it?" Everybody said, "Yes, Commissioner, sir. Yes, Commissioner, sir." "Good. Now go and find me that individual." Everybody gets up, leaves the briefing room. Flash said, "A vigilante in the city. He's already beat up all my friends, beat up a bunch of two-bit punks who deserve to get beat up, and brutalized a pimp. I'm going to have fun finding this guy and arresting him." Gordon thought to himself, he knows he's going to have to arrest this vigilante, but part of him didn't want to do it. But the law is the law. The police are the ones to enforce the law. That's what he said to himself in his mind. But who the hell's this vigilante? He asked himself. Well, that night, Flash was engaged in an illegal activity. He was taking bribes from a group of drug smugglers bringing illegal drugs into Gotham City on the docks. Well, their activities didn't go unnoticed. All of a sudden, on one of the metal crates, there was a loud thud. They looked up. It was the vigilante Batman. They freaked out and was like, "What the hell?" All of a sudden, Batman leaps in the air and takes down one of the guys by landing on him, then proceeds to quickly take out the other man before he could pull out his gun, and then flings his batarang to hit the other man in the face, causing him to scream as the batarang hit him in the eye and he was bleeding. Batman quickly went over and beat the crap out of him. Now it was only Flash left. Flash tried to draw his gun, but Batman quickly ran over and kicked Flash in the chest. Flash didn't fall on the ground. He was strong. He was built. But Batman proceeded to brutalize him. After he was done, Flash was on the ground, bleeding, hurt badly. Then Batman walks up to him and steps on his hand with his boot. Flash let out a shrill scream. Then Batman lifted his boot off the fingers of Flash, and then he proceeded to say to Flash,
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman.
Well, the next morning in the briefing room in the GCPD building, Flash was explaining his side of the story, in which he was the innocent bystander trying to put a stop to these illegal activities that were going on in the docks when the Batman attacked him, which pretty much everybody, including Gordon, didn't buy. But it was Flash, and he was always innocent, even though he caused most of the commotion and got his butt handed to him, but he was always innocent. Meanwhile, in the Batcave beneath Wayne Manor, Bruce Wayne was hard at work on his Batmobile, putting some finishing touches on the weapon system when Lucius Fox comes out of the elevator towards him and says, well, good morning, Mr. Wayne. I see that your friend has been busy the last 2 nights and stopped a drug shipment from coming into Gotham and injured one of the policemen that was trying to apprehend these drug dealers. Bruce Wayne says that's utter bull crap. Flash was there accepting bribes and making sure that drug shipment was going to go into Gotham. Lucius, seeing Bruce Wayne hard at work in the hood of the car, asked him, what are you doing, Mr. Wayne? Bruce Wayne replied as he was turning the socket wrench. He says, I'm just putting the few finishing touches on this Batmobile. As he was turning the socket wrench, he then says to Lucius, I took out that 45 caliber gun port and put in a 30 caliber Browning machine gun that I got my hands on. I also got my hands on radar. I installed it in the wing mirrors on the car, so now I could pick up any vehicle that's around me, said Bruce Wayne as he was closing the hood of the T. Tommaso Pantera Batmobile. Then Bruce asked Lucius, what do you think of the new hood? It's got 2 yellow slits that light up with yellow lights and makes it look like ominous eyes on the hood of the car. Lucius was like, well, Mr. Wayne, I guess this would intimidate anybody that sees us driving down the road at night. And it goes good with your vigilante alter ego. So, what's the plan for tonight? Asked Lucius. Bruce says, I'm going to pay Mr. Falcone a visit. Lucius is like, what? Carmine Falcone, the Roman, the big boss. Bruce says, yeah, I'm not going to bring him down just yet. I'm just going to have him, acknowledge that I exist. A little intimidation. Lucius asks Bruce, how are you going to get into his penthouse? It's guarded more than Fort Knox. Bruce then goes over to the back computer to show Lucius how he's going to do it. He punches a series of keys on the keyboard. Soon the back computer brings up on the display screen the whole layout of Falcone's penthouse. Well, that night at Falcone's penthouse, it was business as usual. Falcone was upstairs in his penthouse while his men were patrolling the garage. One of the men was going in the north end of the garage. He gets on the radio and says, hey Johnny, it's Tony. I'm going to check out the north end of the garage right now. You read me? The voice of Johnny crackles on the radio. Yeah, Tony, I read ya. Alright, I'm going to check it out, said Tony on the radio back to Johnny. Over, said Johnny. Well, Tony was heading towards Falcone's Rolls Royce when all of a sudden there was a big explosion. Tony was knocked on the ground, but he quickly gets up, dusts himself off, and he says, oh, Jesus, God, the boss's rolls. He gets on his radio and he says, hey, Johnny, come in. Johnny says, what the Sam hell was that? Was that an explosion? Tony said, "Yeah, man, that was an explosion. The boss's Rolls Royce, it blew up. Someone put a bomb in there." Johnny on the radio says, "Oh, Jesus, God, come on. Let's go tell Mr. Falcone." Well, the two men, joined with several other men that were patrolling the garage, get on the elevator and go all the way to Falcone's penthouse. When they get into Falcone's penthouse, it was a mess. It looked like it had been ransacked. Johnny screamed, "Oh my goodness, Mr. Falcone! Mr. Falcone, sir!" The men heard a loud muffle coming from Falcone's bedroom. They ran to the direction of the muffle in the bedroom. Sure enough, when they went into the bedroom, Falcone was on his bed, naked, hog-tied, and gagged. The men ran over to untie Mr. Falcone and gag him, and one of the other men quickly put on Falcone's silk robes, and they all turned around until Falcone quickly got himself robed up. Johnny asked Falcone, "Mr. Falcone, what happened?" Carmine Falcone, a middle-aged man, he was built, handsome chiseled features, and gray hair, said, "As soon as I got out of the shower, I was ambushed by a costumed clown. That costumed clown that has been sighted for the last 2 days. And now he was up here. And then after he punched me, hogtied me, left me bound and gagged in my own bed, he then proceeds to trash my home. I want him dead. Find that man. Kill him," said Falcone angrily. Tony said, "Mr. Falcone, I have more bad news for you, sir." Falcone's like, "What?" "I believe that same man just destroyed your Rolls Royce." Falcone's like, "What?" "Yes, sir. When I was on my way patrolling the north end of the garage, your Rolls Royce blew up. And then we came up here to tell you, and then we found you here like this." Falcone said a Italian expletive, and he says, "I want this freak dead." Well, the next night, Bruce Wayne did not go out as Batman. He just went out as his normal self. It was teen night at the Kiss Kiss Club. Bruce Wayne decided to go to the club that night just to let himself unwind. Well, it was a typical night at the Kiss Kiss Club. It was popular, it was crowded, and there he met a very beautiful young brunette woman his same age. Her name was Julie Madison. He meets her at the bar when he was ordering a soda. She was there having a drink, a soda, just like everybody else. Teen night, they don't serve alcohol there. Julie Madison recognized him off the bat. She's like, "Wait a minute, you're Bruce Wayne. I see you in the papers. You just graduated college." Bruce is like, "Yeah, I did." Ironic, I graduated college and I'm not even old enough to vote yet. She laughed and he let out a slight chuckle. Well, Bruce Wayne was instantly smitten with Julie. She was beautiful. And Julie came from a well-to-do family herself. Her father, John Madison, was a prominent lawyer in Gotham City. Well, Julie and Bruce were hitting it off as they talked in the bar. After the two finished their sodas, they went out to the dance floor and danced with each other for a long while. It was after the dance that Julie says to Bruce, "Hey Bruce, you wanna go to my place?" Bruce is like, I don't know. What your dad would think. I want you to meet my dad," she says. "Y'all think you'll like him, and he maybe like you." Well, Bruce says, "Okay, how are we gonna go there? Are you driving or am I driving?" Julie says to Bruce, "Well, you're gonna drive because I came here with my friends." Bruce says, "Fine. Are you gonna tell your friends you're leaving with me?" Julie's like, "Oh yeah, you're right, I should tell them." She's like, "Give me a moment." So she goes, tells her friends that she was going off with Bruce Wayne. Bruce could see in the distance that her friends were giggling after Julie told them who she was leaving with. And they left together from the nightclub. Soon, a Jaguar XJS pulls up at the home of Julie Madison's father in the Hill, a ritzy area code of Gotham City. Well, Julie unlocks the door and invites Bruce in. She calls for her dad. "Dad, I'm home. It's Julie. I have a guest." "Dad?" Well, she tells Bruce to make himself at home in the living room. She goes into the kitchen to look for her dad. Her dad was not in the kitchen. But there was a note. She picked up the note. The note read, "Hey Julie, it's Dad. I had to go on a business trip that just popped up. I'll be home tomorrow evening. Take care. I love you, Dad. She crumples the note in anger. Her dad went out again, and it was frustrating to her. These business trips that keep popping up are getting more frequent in numbers. So she decided to make the most of it. She goes into the liquor cabinet, pulls out some wine, and takes 2 glasses out. She goes into the living room again and says, "Well, Bruce, my dad's not home. He went on another of his goddamn business trips. So it's just me and you, and a bottle of some expensive red wine I can't pronounce," she says. Bruce is like, "Julie, we're underage. We're not supposed to be drinking. If you have another drink in the house, maybe soda, juice, water." Julie says, "Well, then fine, Bruce. I'll find you something else to drink." She goes back in the kitchen and gets him some Perrier sparkling water. She comes back in with it and says to Bruce, "Here you go." Bruce said, "Thank you." But then she says to Bruce, "Well, I don't care. I'm going to have me some wine," she says. So she proceeds to open the bottle of wine. She then proceeds to pour the wine in her glass. Then Bruce proceeds to do the same thing with his sparkling water. And then the two proceeded to talk to each other for what seemed to be an eternity. They got to know each other. Julie explained the situation. Her mother ran off with another guy and is somewhere out west. And then she talks about her relationship with her dad, how he's such a wonderful guy, but as of late, he's been going on these random business trips, and there's something that's bothering him and it's causing a strain on their relationship. And then she talks about her career as a high school student at Monroe Memorial High in Midtown Gotham. Then Bruce went on to explain about his life and everything in it. Well, it was around 1 o'clock or 1:30 in the morning that Julie realized, oh, look at the time. Then she asked Bruce, you want to stay the night? Bruce said, with a little bit of hesitation, "Yeah, I'll stay the night." Then one thing led to another, and the next morning, Bruce wakes up in Julie's bedroom. He stretches out, he looks over, but Julie was gone. He gets up, puts on his clothes, and goes out, and he sees Julie in the kitchen cooking breakfast, and she says, "Good morning, sunshine. How was your night?" Bruce said, "It was a wonderful night. I wish I could relive it over and over again." Julie lets out a smile and says, "I wish I could relive it too. You're the first one I could ever talk to in a long time about my problems." Bruce said, "You're the first one I was able to talk to in a long time myself about my problems in life." Well, then the two lovebirds sat down and had breakfast together. Julie says to Bruce, "My dad won't be home until this evening, so what are you doing today?" she asked. Bruce said, "Well, for you, I could free everything up." Julie let out a smile. "Bruce, you're such a nice guy." Bruce says to her, "Julie, you're a very nice woman." Well, then the two decided to have fun together. They went out to one of Gotham City's many boardwalks, ride the Ferris wheel. He even won Julie a prize at a shooting booth. Then it was out to having lunch. Then it was out to have dinner at Wayne Manor, where Bruce introduced Julie to Dr. Tompkins and Aunt Harriet. After dinner in Wayne Manor, Bruce Wayne took Julie back home. There, her dad was finally home. It was around 7 o'clock in the evening. Bruce goes inside and meets Mr. Madison. The two men shake hands, and he's like, "Bruce Wayne, saw you on the newspaper. Congratulations with graduating college at your age." He even asked him, "What are your plans, young man?" Bruce Wayne's like, "Well, my only plans right now is to take over my family company. Right now I'm running the Wayne Foundation until I'm old enough to take the reins of Wayne Enterprises." John Madison looks at him and is like, "Yes, very smart idea, kid. Very smart idea. So, you and my daughter were hanging out today," he says. Bruce said nervously, "Yeah. Took her out to the boardwalk. We had some fun. I even wanted that big pink elephant at a shooting gallery. He's like, well, I see you're a good shot, kid. Then Bruce says, well, if you excuse me, everybody, I have to depart because I have to be ready for work tomorrow morning. So, Julie, he says, it was nice hanging out with you, and I hope to see you again very soon. Julie says, yes, we'll be seeing each other again very soon. Then Bruce turns to John Madison. He says, Mr. Madison, I am looking forward to getting to know you more, sir. John Madison says, I'm looking forward to getting to know you more myself, kid. The two men shook hands. Well, Julie walked Bruce out to the front door. The two kissed. And then Bruce says to Julie, see you soon. He gets into his Jaguar XJS and drives off into the sunset. Like and subscribe. Part 4 coming soon.